A little bit of a longer video today. There will be timestamps in the video description if you want to jump around. We're talking about tuber aestivum, or the summer truffle. Here's what we're going to go over. A little background, a little taste test between tuber melanosporum and tuber aestivum. Tuber aestivum versus tuber uncinatum, which are basically the same, but maybe not really. General cooking, we'll make a little truffle carbonara and truffle tartufata. Great way to preserve summer truffles. And big thanks to my friends over at Truffle Cart for sponsoring the truffles for this video. They started picking and selling truffles in the Balkan Peninsula and mountains around Kosovo like 26 years ago. They just got a great distribution deal with Costco. My favorite place to get truffles. Check them out if you want to try some. Here's your tuber aestivum. I've cut it in half. You can see the gleba, or inner spore-bearing material, is kind of white, khaki, beige, and these are widely harvested and sold and cultivated around Europe, used to make all kinds of value-added truffle products. They're also one of the cheaper truffles, if not the cheapest truffle on the market. So if you're buying truffle products, it's important to look at what species is being used, because as you can see here, there's a drastic difference in price between tuber melanosporum on the left and tuber aestivum on the right. Now, a little taste test between the two. Time for more truffles. So I thought we'd do a little taste test between the summer truffle and the Chilean tuber melanosporum. So the reason that the tuber melanosporum has grown in Australia and Chile is to kind of offset the market, because during the summer, typically there's only summer truffles that are available from Europe, but Australia and Chile have seasons that kind of are opposite the rest of the world. So we can get these nice, typically cold weather truffles in the summer from those places. And they are still the same price, if not more expensive than your typical tuber melanosporum. So first, summer truffle. And these are good summer truffles. But good summer truffles is kind of relative. I'll put a little bit of butter. Nothing wrong to taste a truffle with just a little bit of butter and salt on it. The summer truffles are good. They're slightly mushroomy. There really is not like a noticeable truffle aroma. There is when I open the bag, but it is much more subtle than this tuber melanosporum. Look at this thing. This thing is a pig. This thing is stinking up the entire room. So the summer truffles are good. They're a little bit bitter on the back end. Not offensive, but it's more of a mushroomy taste with the summer truffle. Now with the tuber melanosporum, I smell this telltale, almost a hint of smoke that I get also with tuber bromali. Wash that down with a little LaCroix. Now for tuber melanosporum. So it's also much more firm and dense, and the smell is noticeably stronger. Obviously, this is way more expensive as well. Compared to the summer truffle, the tuber melanosporum is much more intense and has that hint of smoke that I expect from it. Just much more long-lasting and actually has more of that, strong truffle flavor. So, both of them are good. One is, exorbitantly expensive compared to the other. They're both good. If I have my choice, of course I'm taking the tuber melanosporum. Now, the next thing to go over is kind of confusing. Tuber aestivum versus tuber uncinatum. These are basically genetically identical mushrooms, but one of them comes up in the fall. That's going to be tuber uncinatum, also known as the burgundy truffle. And then tuber aestivum obviously comes up in the summer. So tuber aestivum, again, has that white interior, and it's going to be about $100, $200 a pound. It also grows higher in the soil than tuber uncinatum. And again, these are super mild tasting and very different here. As we will see, tuber uncinatum, like $400 to $500 a pound. That's over double the price of the tuber aestivum. This grows deeper in the soil, and it is a much, much stronger flavor. So definitely my preference between the two. But it's a little confusing because the names are under standardized. All right, little general cooking. So use 1 ounce or more per serving with summer truffles, where with other truffles, I'm typically going to recommend using half an ounce. You need to use more to have a good experience. Just lay them on. Use them quickly, same as other truffles, basically within 3 days of receiving them from your supplier, and then keep it simple. Don't be putting these on a curry or something like that. You want like a bowl of buttered noodles, a bowl of scrambled eggs, a slice of truffle with butter and salt on it. Keep it really, really simple. Otherwise, you won't be able to taste the truffle at all. So the first thing I made was some truffle carbonara. Start off with a little bacon in the pan, and this isn't any bacon. This is my homemade bacon, because most conventional bacon is going to be made with liquid smoke, and that could be a little too strong for the truffle here. But my homemade bacon is fantastic. You could substitute a little ham or pancetta, even better. Add a little butter after we get the fat rendered out. Now we're going to slice some garlic on the same slicer that we're going to slice the truffles. That's a good French trick. And we're just going to slice it nice and paper thin, and we're not going to brown this at all. We're just going to take the raw off of the garlic and just basically warm it up, because if we browned it, it could kind of interfere with the truffle because they're super delicate. Now add a splash of white wine, cook that down, and then we'll add, for 2 people, about 4 ounces of pasta, or you could have 4 small servings out of that, about half a cup of cream to 4 ounces of dried noodles, 2 ounces of bacon, tablespoon of butter. Cook that down until it gets nice and thick. Now we're going to turn the pan off, and now I'm going to shave in like this entire truffle into the bowl of pasta. And then we're going to save more truffles for putting on top when we serve it. You could also shred them. I used a grater and did another version before this, and that worked out too. But the key is that the pan is turned off, so things aren't cooking. We don't want to cook truffles. We just want to warm them up gently or have them raw. Now we had a raw egg yolk. The beauty about having the pan turned off here is that it's not going to make a pan of scrambled eggs. It's just going to thicken the sauce and make it just custardy and rich and delicious. The starch from the pasta helps with that a little bit. I had some Parmesan cheese and salt to taste. And then we just spoon that onto a plate, and now cover the whole thing, smother the plate with truffles. This is what you have to do with summer truffles. Otherwise, you might be a little underwhelmed. You need to use a ton of them. And then during dinner, when people are halfway through their meal, I will walk through with the truffle slicer and cover the plate again. That's a good Italian trick. Now let's make a little tartufata. This is a great preserve of truffles. A lot of times it's sold in jars and it's made with button mushrooms. I'm just going to use all truffles here and a little tip of garlic. I may or may not add pine nuts. I may make this with like half, you could use half shiitakes or half button mushrooms. This is just all truffle. There's a recipe for it on my site. Add some oil until it's all nice and buzzed up. Add plenty of salt, about 1.5 teaspoons per jar. Put that into a mason jar, and then we're just going to cover it with oil. So basically, it's a way to stretch truffles, and it's so good on a little pile of buttered noodles or just tossed with hot pasta. So good. There you go. Quick breakdown on what I like to do with summer truffles and a little explanation on a few of their characteristics. There's more information and recipes on my website, and trufflecart.com is a great place to get some of these if you want to try them. Thanks for watching.